And we are live. We're live. We're live. We're live on the Smart Money Culture TV network on your TVs in Texas and Louisiana, as well as streaming around the world. Sir David Porter, how are you?
Yes, I'm fantastic. It's great to be here live action on the East Coast, 6 a.m. up with the big brother Bruce, always rocking it on the early morning, getting a good start on these markets. I was taking a look at Matt's overview there, always insightful. I heard you've been listening to him quite a bit and doing pretty good.
Well, the thing about Matt is I always, I've known Matt for a long time. Matt and I've made a lot of money together, obviously. We have to with him. But, he was always, sometimes he would miss pumps and it would be like, man, you missed the pump or whatever. But as you trade more and more, you realize that you don't have to get every pump. And it's more important to keep your money. It's more important to keep your money than it is to catch every pump, because if you lose your money, then you don't have anything to catch the pumps with.
I hear that. Sometimes the best trade is no trade, and you hold on to it for another chance, and that's what's been working sometimes.
Yes, well, absolutely. And he's a very technical trader. So if you follow our signals, if you follow the signals that we talk about on the show, every day, you will win trades. So for instance, if you followed the signals over the last month or two, we only did probably like 20 trades, but we won 19 of the trades.
That's a winning hand. That's really good.
Speaking of winning, I'll tell you. So the title today is the Rally Symbolism and Revolution: Decoding Trump and Elon's Message, which is, there's a lot there. Okay, and then financial front lines, of course, and then the rise of SOLKIE. The rise of SOLKIE, and this is a fun meme coin. And you guys know me, right? I do pretty well picking these meme coins. I mean, we've done pretty well. We did. I guess I won't mention the other ones, but we've made some pretty good calls here. And this one is really interesting. It's cool. It's a bunch of guys that I've known from some other really good pumps and really good projects that we've worked with, and it's cool. It's cool, and that's like half the battle. So it's a lovable bear, right? And here, why don't I can even like share my screen a little bit. But these meme coins, you can make a lot of money with these things.
Absolutely. When they have that likability on the human level, you have that trust and understanding in the community. It's really set off for the well-being of everybody that's involved.
Well, that's absolutely correct. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to share my screen here for a second. So SOLKIE, and now it's kind of like I don't know. So anyway, reached out to me, of course. I wanted me to take a look at it. I took a look at it. This is really cool. So here we go. New listing alert. SOLKIE listed on this coin boom, coin discovery. Well, they're working it now. Here's the deal. So this token is a community takeover. Okay, so they had a developer before, and the developer, for whatever reason, left. Okay, but you see, I mean, they're just fun meme coin. Every lovable character. You put them all over the place. Look at this chart. I mean, the chart is just really just a beautiful thing here. I mean,
that's a moonshot.
That is a moonshot, and that's the thing. Okay, so I'll pull up the Dex tools here in a minute, but so it's fun, memeable. The website is right here. The great website too. So the community takes over. It goes all the way down to like a ridiculous amount market cap. I mean, basically nothing, right? It goes down to like basically nothing. Here's the share this tab instead. So here we are. Here's the website. Hold on. This is worth playing. Yes. Area. I'm going to pull that back up here again.
That looks like a monetary revolution to me.
Right?
Yep.
I mean,
the possibilities are endless.
Yes, exactly. And that's the thing. So you have these different these different types of tokens out there, and it's really all about the community, right? Mm-hmm. It's all about the community. And so you have a good group here of guys, and they're working it. And the supply, it's not like the supply already got bled out. So that's kind of interesting too, because you have a situation now sometimes where the CTO, as they call it, the community takeover, could be even better than the original launch, because now it's all bled out. Everybody knows who the wallets are. You know what I mean? So now you're watching everybody. You see where they bought, where they, there's not like a whole lot of the developer started with his own bag and he's just slowly selling on you and everything. So anyway, great site. I'm bullish. I'm bullish on this thing. I really am. I like these fun meme tokens, and it's on Solana.
It's very creative.
Yes, it's very creative. It's also on Solana. Okay, and the thing about Solana is that
they have the biggest bags.
Yeah, there's just so much money on Solana. You know what I mean? I love the other tokens as well, but there's so much money on Solana. Okay, here we go. Check out this chart. These guys are pumping. So this is the 5 minute. This is the 5 minute chart right here. Here we go. Boom. Nice big moves here. Look at this. Again, one of those things, like since we've been involved here, right? So we made the deal kind of, all right, we're gonna go in on this thing. We're gonna get a bag. We're gonna start moving this thing, and then boom, here we go. Now you look right here. This is the all-time high. We're only about half off. Let me move this over to my monthly here. So we're not far off. These are nice looking charts, guys. This is a nice looking chart, and we have a lot to go. And then look right here, market cap. Whoa, that's not what I wanted to do here. Market cap of 167. Okay, so you got $167,000 market cap, right? You can throw $2,000 at this, and you can pick up a little over 1 million coins. Okay. And when this thing runs, okay, when SOLKIE runs to 176, look at this. Even why we're talking about it. Of course, that's why the shows are so important, right? The Impact Money Show, David. We have this big mouthpiece. It's always great to see here. So 176,000 market cap, all right, but still for $2,000, you can come in, you can get 1 million coins. And then this thing goes to 10 million, and you're like so happy. It goes to 1 million, which almost, I would say, of course it'll go to 1 million, but not financial advice and all that good stuff I'm supposed to say. Okay. But it goes to 1 million, you 5x, you more than 5x. It goes to 10 million, you've 10x. If it goes to 100 million, these things go to $1 billion. Look at WIF. WIF is like $3 or $4 billion.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of synergy there.
Right? Mm-hmm. Oh, look at this. Sure. this is fun. And that's the thing, again, like I said, about the Solana. And plus it's SOLKIE, S-O, Solana, SOLKIE. It's a great name, great picture.
Yeah.
Great meme coin. great community. I'm excited about it. I really am. I want to go buy some more. Maybe that was me buying that you just saw.
The connection's there, and there's a lot of room for growth, which is what you want to see.
Well, that's what you want to see. Exactly my point. You go in on Dog Whiff or whatever it is, Dog Whiff Hat with the $3 billion market cap or something, and you're probably not going to double your money. I mean, it just is what it is. I mean, they're $3 billion. I haven't checked lately. I don't know exactly what they are, but let's just say they're $3 billion. They go to $6 billion. I mean, that's a big move. That's a big move. But SOLKIE goes from 176 to, 300 or 400. I mean, that's easy.
Mm-hmm. I understand that progress.
So anyway, I think we're going to be working a lot more with these guys. We'll see. That's the other part about it is, guys, look, it's not like we're cheap or something. Okay. So when people come and they want to work with us and they have a project that they really believe in and they come to us, that says a lot too.
There's pure intention there to build this legacy, and we're going to keep the action coming.
We're going to keep the action coming. For instance, even I had another project. We had another project recently. We want to work with the guys. Never actually pulled the trigger, and then just faded off into the sunset. So
maybe they didn't have the right dream and to bring all the unity together. And you got to have the vision, and that's what's going to have people engaged.
You're absolutely correct. And so that's one of the things it is one of the things. And that's why a lot of times when people want us to work with them or something like that, we say no, because and it's not that we're just greedy guys or something like that, but if you got to have the right intentions, you have to have the right ingredients, you have to have, you got to have all these things. You got to have the money behind it. You got to have the community. You can build a community, but you got to be building it. And these guys, even in their Telegram, I mean, it's fun, it's fun. So the Porter brothers are loving the SOLKIE army. They have the SOLKIE army as well, and that's always a good thing. You get the SOLKIE army.
I mean, that's a cute dog.
Right?
Yeah.
He is a cute dog. Let me just, here we go. Let me just look over here at
I'm optimistic.
I'm optimistic too.
And happy to share this with everybody.
Right? So if you want to get it, the easiest way to get it is just to go to the website. And you're going to want some Solana, of course. And just click buy now.
Swap it right there.
Yeah, here we go. Let me just switch back to this tab. Boom. Buy now. And there you go. And you have the live chart right here too. So you can just click that live chart. Go look at that live chart I was just looking at. You can see even since we were just doing that. Boom, boom, boom. 177. Here we are right now. Okay, you can look at that live chart. You can also just click buy now. And that takes you right over to Radio. And then you just, boom. You're in. And you can buy. So,
a lot of hope and determination on the success of this one.
Yes, it's absolutely correct. And these guys are working. They're working it. So anyway, a lot of fun. SOLKIE, my new, it is my new favorite meme coin.
Nice.
Yeah. So David, there was a lot going on yesterday with, or over the weekend or the week with this rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. Did you catch some of that?
No, I didn't. I hit the golf course and tuned out a bit.
Nice.
I mean, these politics are really out of hand these days.
It's true. Go ahead.
And I would think that the current government would want to brag about all their hard work instead of kind of shutting out on what they've been doing.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy. To be totally honest, I didn't watch it either. I was, you get on. It is one of those things, right? They are really It's a mess. So, but I did watch replays and everything else, and there was a lot of symbolism and everything that people were claiming that was going on. I was watching some of it last night, and it was pretty interesting. But I'll tell you what, to talk about a power-packed rally, right? You had Trump and Elon. I mean, two of and
Elon bringing that energy, right? Jumping up. I mean, he's awesome.
Yeah, he was awesome, right? Well, that's what some of the people were saying too. So I was reading last night, and they were like, "He's giving Freemason signals. He's jumping in the air with his hands in the air. He's giving Freemason signals." And then I had to go back and watch it. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I watched different clips, and I think he was just jumping, guys. If anybody's in with the Freemasons, I mean, David and I are we're in with the head guys, all right, the guys, the ones who say, "Oh no, don't worry, you don't need to do any of that stuff. You just are, bro."
Throw your hands in the air.
Throw your hands in the air. Wave them around like you just don't care. No, I mean, I think he was just jumping. I think it was an action-packed. I think it was the energy was through the roof.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it was really interesting. So, but yeah, I mean, I guess I could be wrong, but I don't know. And of course, in that same kind of thread, they were saying that the shooting was the ear shooting was all fake and everything. I mean, if we're going there, man, we're really going there, and I don't really think was fake. So, but pretty nuts. The symbolism, though, overall, coming out of there was, this power, that optimism. It's optimism, and that's what Trump has. Optimism. I was actually talking with one of my friends yesterday, and that's optimism will fuel even markets. It'll push everything.
Yep. I'd consider Trump to be one of the most optimistic people I've ever seen.
Optimistic, and it's like Matt and I and David talk about all the time. The markets will stay irrational longer than you can stay solvent, and so it goes both ways. But I mean, basically, markets are irrational. Things are irrational, and so that optimism, if anything, pushes it over. I mean, we still have the magic electron voting machines. I'm not optimistic, to be honest with you, about what the result will be. These guys are optimistic, so that makes me optimistic about it. But I don't know, guys. We still got the magic electronic voting machines and all the mail-in ballots and stuff. I don't know. We'll see. But pretty interesting play. He's really put it all on the line. I guess if Trump doesn't win, X is going to end as it is now as a free speech platform. It'll be something different.
Yeah, well, thank God we've had X, because the news is not going to work. We have to talk to each other and communicate with each other. And thank God for X, because the information had been so suppressed before.
If we didn't have X, it would be crazy. I mean, no news would be getting out. I mean, it's nuts. It's crazy. The South African guy, this guy from South Africa who became an American, is taking us to Mars and saved free speech. He's worth
Elon.
like $200 billion or something like that.
I'd give him a couple more dollars for all that work he's done.
They say he's going to be the first trillionaire.
Yeah, right behind the other trillionaires.
I know. They never heard of the Rothschilds, I guess. Plus, how do you decide how much Putin has? How much is that guy worth? I guess they just don't count him. There's people they just don't count. We're not going to count that. He doesn't count.
Right.
Anyway, I have the market report here with the great Matt Dixon. Let me just see here. Let me pull it up. Matt recorded it for us this morning. He had some meetings. Do you have that? I can play it. Do you have it queued up?
No.
Okay. I got it. SOLKIE.
Yeah, I really like the energy coming out of SOLKIE too.
Right?
Yeah.
I know,
Good
bro.
morning, Bruce. Morning, Impact Money viewers.
Oops.
Hope you all had a great weekend.
Is that you or me?
So the markets haven't
It's
been
you.
resting, as we hopefully have been. We obviously had the attack of Iran against Israel last week. That caused a big sell-off in the markets, took us to lows.
Oh, okay. It must
Just
have opened on
looking
my
here at the S&P
computer.
500, there's been less movement on the S&P than on some of the crypto markets that we looked at. So we had a bit of a sell-off.
This is funny. I can't
following
figure
that
out where it's
attack.
coming from.
And as expected, I went out on X talking about saying there'll be basically a rebound in the market before
Sorry, guys.
the expected retaliatory attack.
All right.
Sounds good.
From Israel against Iran for this for the attack that happened last week. So we expected the markets to kind of climb this wall of worry. Obviously, there is a concern and a worry about the attack.
Very
What
interesting
are they
here.
going to attack? Is it going to be the
Yes,
nuclear facilities? Is it going to be oil facilities? And if it were oil facilities, how will that affect the oil price? So I'll just flip over to oil quickly, and we can see that we have had
This is pretty funny.
Substantial movement higher in oil, and it's actually stayed relatively high. So we actually had a gap higher in the market. Now, very often those gaps do fill, but we've seen also a gap on the downside slightly. So
okay.
The markets are going to remain choppy until we get the next big geopolitical event, which, as I say, is likely to be, I think is almost definitely
you can hear it.
Be a retaliation
Yeah.
from Israel against Iran. It just depends on the extent of that attack. And
you think if I close and come back in, can you load it up?
Then that will definitely
I can.
Will
yeah.
Will it work?
Iran have said
Let me share here.
Where the oil passes through.
If I close out,
attack, and that will
I have it queued.
all right, go for it.
That maritime lane, and so you would expect that to affect the oil prices very, very substantially. So I think this is probably just a first move.
All right, here we go.
In oil. Substantial movement higher in oil. It's actually stayed relatively high.
We obviously had the attack of Iran against Israel last week. That caused a big sell-off in the markets, took us to lows. I'm just looking here at the S&P 500. There's been less movement on the S&P than on some of the crypto markets that we looked at. So we had a bit of a sell-off following that attack. And as expected, I went out on X saying there'll be basically a rebound in the markets before the expected retaliatory attack from Israel against Iran for the attack that happened last week. So we expected the markets to kind of climb this wall of worry. Obviously, there is a concern and a worry about the attack. What are they going to attack? Is it going to be the nuclear facilities? Is it going to be oil facilities? And if it were oil facilities, how will that affect the oil price? So I'll just flip over to oil quickly, and we can see that we have had some substantial movement higher in oil, and it's actually stayed relatively high. So we actually had a gap higher in the market. Now, very often those gaps do fill, but we've seen also a gap on the downside slightly. So the markets are going to remain choppy until we get the next big geopolitical event, which, as I say, is likely to be, I think it's almost definitely going to be a retaliatory attack from Israel against Iran. It just depends on the extent of that attack. And if they were to attack the oil facilities, then that will definitely have a big effect. And Iran have said that they will actually block the straits, where the oil passes through, if there's an attack, and that will upset there's 20% of the world's oil passes through that maritime lane, and so you would expect that to affect the oil prices very, very substantially. So I think this is probably just a first move here that we've seen in oil. We may get a bit of a correction even further down potentially before any attack happens. But I would expect oil to bounce high yet again. I think this is just potentially an A wave higher, or it could even be a wave one. But I think it's just the beginning of the move, and I think there's probably quite a bit higher to go yet with the oil price. That will affect the markets. But as we saw with the S&P 500, the markets are actually rebounding quite strongly, and it's one of those things where you have a sort of buy the rumor, sell the news effect, and it's almost the opposite here. When there's bad news coming, you get sell the rumor, buy the news. It's almost the opposite. So we're seeing a strong rebound in prices here, even though the rumor is going to be quite negative for the markets. We're seeing the markets climb in anticipation of that, and when the news actually comes, I do think that when the bad news comes, I do think that the markets will actually fall back down again quite a bit lower. So there's some potential opportunities for us here as we look at the markets. We expected, I've actually gone out on X and signaled pretty much every move that we've seen in the market. I said it's very, very dangerous to go long the markets, even though I expected the markets to go higher in basically anticipation of this move by Israel. So I expected markets to go higher over the weekend. And remember that rule I often say, that when you see a strong move, and we did see a strong move higher in the markets before, a strong move lower as we entered the weekend, I said, when you see that, you often see the markets move against. And it's often the market makers moving against the prevailing move in the market. So the prevailing move in the market was a sell-off due to the geopolitical unrest in the Middle East. And so when you have the weekend, the quiet time, markets often move against that prevailing move, which is exactly what we've seen yet again. So that rule is really holding quite strong at the moment, and it has given us opportunities. So first of all, it gave us an opportunity to close our short positions ahead of the weekend, and that was precisely the right thing to do, to close short positions, because we did expect to rebound higher, and that's precisely what's happened. Even though it's just in futures here for the S&P, we've seen it in crypto. So we'll just jump into crypto now, and we can see there's been a very substantial move up in Bitcoin. So I'm thinking that most likely this is going to be an ABC move higher, because I do expect probable lower movement to come. And so from this low point, I was saying that it's time to close your short positions, and the short positions benefited from this strong move down here. I did say before the weekend, time to close those short positions because there's going to be a move higher. But I wasn't really prepared to take long positions, because that attack from Israel could potentially come at any time. Today is actually a real potential for that to happen, because today, October the 7th, is obviously the anniversary of what sparked the recent unrest real potential for Israel to use that anniversary as a time to retaliate and try and basically, in their eyes, pay back what Iran has recently done in the attack on Israel. So that was obviously an unprecedented attack. It was one of the biggest that has been historically. Over 180 missiles were fired on Israel, and amazingly, Israel remains pretty much intact, remains safe. So their Iron Dome and the protection from America, UK, and some others kept Israel safe from that. But Israel will possibly take this as an opportunity to maybe try and degrade or set back Iran's nuclear ambitions. And if that were to happen, as I say, it would be a big negative for the markets, at least short term. And also, if they were to attack the oil facilities, then it would affect oil. So we have seen, as I say, we've seen oil price move substantially higher with a big gap higher here. And even if we get a small pullback on oil, I do think there's probably higher to go with the oil price. So we've seen Bitcoin, and we'll just take a look at Solana again. Solana from what I think is an A wave lower. So the good thing about this is, if I count it as an A wave down, B wave up, and a C wave down, yes, the C wave would take us back down, probably below this level here. And a logical target might be the 124 area as a minimum sort of target to the downside. There's real potential for that, depending on what happens geopolitically, but there is real potential for that. But what I'm saying is, we've had an A wave down, a B wave higher would likely take us. We've gotten within the B wave, as we know, there are fractals, so waves within waves. So a B wave itself is likely here going to be made up of an A, a B, and a C on a smaller scale. So we've already had, I think, an A wave higher, we've had a B wave down, and we're looking at a C wave higher, which may actually go a little bit higher, or we may have completed. Hard to say, but a logical target might be 100% extension, which would take us to the 152 area. We have already reached about 151, just about 151 on Solana, so we're almost there. So maybe time to start DCAing. Obviously, don't over position, don't over risk, but there's potential for downside from anywhere around this sort of area. So I would be looking from a risk reward perspective at DCAing, and maybe starting to take some short positions. We can already see the market's turned down from about 151, we're 149 now, so we're already about $2 down, which is a relatively substantial move to the downside already. But as I say, we may even see it climb a little bit higher, which is why I say DCA, dollar cost average, because we don't know the precise turning point. We're just expecting in and around this sort of area. And obviously going short is a big, big risk to take. It's actually infinite risk, because the market can go a lot higher. And I was actually talking to someone this weekend who has expectations that Solana could, in the coming months or year or whatever ahead, but basically in this cycle, could potentially reach $1,000. So some people are very, very bullish Solana. It is still the king of the meme coins. You know, everyone puts where hundreds or thousands of memes are being launched on the Solana network. Solana has real potential to move a lot higher. So be very, very careful. Any short position is a risky position. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend going short. Maybe just wait, hold fire until potentially a lower, until you see lower and go long perhaps. So as I say, short positions are extremely risky in these cryptos, because when they do rebound, they can rebound very, very aggressively. So maybe just wait for a long position. That's a good way to think. We've seen XRP, of course. Again, XRP is looking kind of very corrective. So we see that as we look the upside here, the move up. We can see a move down is relatively impulsive. There's not really any overlap here on the downside. But on the upside, we can see that there is substantial overlap and choppiness, and it's almost a a very kind of flat move. It's not aggressive move to the upside. It's very flat with an awful lot of overlap here. So whilst we may see possibly a little bit more upside in this sideways move, I do think there's probably another move to come to the downside for XRP. So I think that's a really good indicator of what's likely to happen in the market, that at some point we should see some more downside. And I believe it feels inevitable, with knowing that Israel are almost definitely going to retaliate for this Iranian attack. So I do think there's more downside to come here. We'll look very briefly at Ethereum. Again, we see this kind of very much ABC kind of move to the upside. It could potentially be counted as impulsive. So there is risk, as I say, of it moving higher. So as I say, from risk reward perspective, you need to be very, very careful. But it does at the moment look as though it's some kind of corrective move to the upside, and we should probably see more downside. I can't count this, by the way, this first move of as five waves. You might think at first look 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but bear in mind that wave 4 potentially, or proposed wave 4 here, shouldn't overlap into wave 1, cannot overlap into wave 1, and it has done. So I do see it as an A rather than a 1, a B here, and then a C wave higher. So that's why I see this as being corrective ABC. Coin got hit a bit with the at the moment to the upside, so I do expect some more for the time being on TON. But overall, I think TON is amazing. As we've said so many times, I talked very positively about Solana and this talk of it going potentially to $1,000 in this cycle. And if that's to happen, it would be amazing. If that's to happen, TON coin would probably get some massive appreciation as well. But bear in mind, Solana, there's a lot of inflation with Solana. There's a lot of tokens being created, basically. And that's one of the things for cryptocurrency is, one of the good things about crypto is then, a lot of them are deflationary. So even though Bitcoin is theoretically slightly inflationary, it's only very slight. And there is a limit to the number of tokens that will ever be created, ever be mined on Bitcoin, 21 million. But we do know that, a number of tokens are lost along the way. We don't even know about Satoshi, whether his tokens are lost or not. There's a lot of tokens there potentially under his ownership. We don't even know whether the guy's dead. There's been a lot of debate lately over whether the guy is still alive even. So all of the tokens that he had in the early days when Bitcoin was first created could potentially be lost from the ecosystem. So that would be a lot of tokens out of a limited supply, would mean that Bitcoin is even more of a scarce asset than we had originally thought. So there's potentially a lot of upside with these. And TON coin, all the coins have been minted that are going to be minted. So TON is limited supply. TON has some amazing characteristics as well. It's got the world record for transaction speed at the moment. So, and it's got massive community, massive adoption. So I do think TON coin has good potential for upside, but short term, I think there's real risk because this looks, again, if you think about it, just look at the movement here. It looks to be choppy, looks to be overlapping, and looks as though we'll probably have at least a final test to the downside. This could even be an ending diagonal. It could be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it could be a modest move to the downside. But I think that after all this turmoil is over, hopefully we'll see some sort of peace initiative in the Middle East take hold, take root, and that would be very positive for risk assets. And then all the positives that we have, or potential positives that we have in the market, in the crypto market, would shine through and would see more upside. So I think there's probably a bright future ahead. There's definitely a silver lining to this current cloud, I think, that even if we see some more downside, there's a lot of potential upside to come. And we can see across the board that in general, the crypto market is looking pretty good. It's pretty green. I've reduced the number of tokens I'm following at the moment, but all the cryptos, in fact, everything is looking up at the moment. The only ones that are down, potentially dollar yen, a little bit down. DXY is looking good. When I say looking good, it's flat at least anyway. So we'd expect dollar index, actually, this is a measure of risk in a way, Dollar index has pushed a bit higher. This looks corrective downside, so I think we will see some more upside on dollar index short term. So that does indicate that whilst crypto is looking positive, and that's kind of the rebound that was expected against the overall current trend, which is slightly down. So I'm a bit wary of this green that we're seeing across the board at the moment in crypto. I think we might see that reverse. So as I say, be very, very careful taking any positions anywhere at the moment. And better advice might even be to keep your powder dry and wait for more stable conditions until you know what's going to happen, what's happening in the Middle East, etc., before you take a position. But as I say, the only negatives we're seeing at the moment, I mean, we've got pound dollar, which is actually a pretty good proxy. It's actually flat, really, 0.01%. The downside is virtually flat. Oil's a little bit down, which is a positive short term. But overall, we are seeing positive crypto. And again, once again, roll bit here. It's been pretty amazing. But I just look at the chart. I don't normally look at the chart, but again, it's looking kind of corrective to the downside. So although it's showing up at the moment, I think we may see a little bit more downside to come before more upside. So even some of those smaller ones, which are showing real promise, I think they're also still showing corrective movement, maybe some more corrective movement to the downside before we see any appreciable rally to the upside. So just again to close on Bitcoin again, where we were, and to summarize things, I think there's potential for a bit more upside, but I think the next major move will be probably to the downside. And so I'm just warning, be very, very careful. So this has been basically a relatively short roundup after the weekend. I think that things will clear up and clarify the situation in the coming days of this week, because I don't think any potential strike from Israel will be dragged out or will be long. It'll be well deliberated. They'll think very, very carefully about what they're going to do. But I think there's a real potential for that to happen today, as it is the 1-year anniversary from the beginning of all this unrest at the moment, this current unrest, I should say, in the Middle East. And so today is a real day of risk, as far as I'm concerned, risk that there will be a retaliatory attack and it will affect these markets. So don't be drawn in by this green movement that you see. Just be very, very careful, and probably best to stand by the sidelines and wait to see what happens. So as I say, relatively short update today. Hope it's been helpful. Look forward to catching up tomorrow, and hopefully with a more comprehensive update. And maybe we'll look at some new ideas. I'm looking at tokenization of real world assets at the moment. So there's a lot of talk about that. Maybe the next big thing in the markets. We'll see. I'll give you my thoughts on that. So again, thanks for today. Thanks for listening. Catch you soon. All the best, and bye for now.
The great Matt Dixon with the Market Watch report. So there is a lot going on, of course, today. I am running now. I'm on my I have my morning routine, of course, like we all have, right? And so I am doing that, getting my girls to their proper places here. But I just wanted to, like I said with Matt, he has a lot of good insight. Keeping your money, and that's half the battle, right? Is keeping your money. And so that was very interesting. A couple of things he said there. One, he said that Solana was going to go quite possibly to $1,000, and I have to agree with him. I think Solana will probably go to $1,000, and that is going to be pretty interesting for all of us who are in the in these different tokens and these different coins, like SOLKIE, right? That's pretty interesting because that is going to really rocket things up. So I will end with SOLKIE, my favorite new meme coin here. I love this community, I really do, and I think that we are going to do some amazing things. I'm actually sure of it, and that's when you're really just like, okay, this is cool, right? This is cool.
even as we have been going, as we have been talking about this, let me share my screen here again, up to we're at what, 177, right? When I was talking about it before. Now, even right now, as we're doing this, they've pushed up to 180, 183, I think 183 market cap right here. Good, good volume, good liquidity, guys. I mean, you know, for something that's pushing off like this, any way you look at this chart, you got to love it. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Any way you look at this chart, you got to love it. You look at the entry point at 183. It's wonderful, guys. Wonderful entry point, especially, well, I mean, you know, hey, look, not financial advice, right? Anything can happen. We move up we move up though to $500,000. You obviously more than doubled your money. We moved to $1 million. You know, you're 5xing, okay? More than 5xing. I mean, this is great. This community is great. I like these guys a lot. The website, of course, is great. SOLKIEthedog.com is the website. Okay, so make sure to check them out as well. And then what happens if I do this? Boom, that's what I wanted. All right, guys, that's it for me today. I love you guys. We will talk soon. Let me finish with my video that I always play here.
Your voice is powerful. When combined with social engagement, it's a force for change. Decentralized media paired with free speech is the catalyst for an empowered world and a unified, invaluable ecosystem. Join Global Boost, become a champion of free speech, and help to reshape the future of media.